And they're both looking at their phone.
I was doing the tweet again.
2 weeks in a row. Oh, I appreciate that. I like that the video played, the music carried on, and then we just got a still of Ben Kennedy's goal against Luton, and it didn't go any further. There is actually more video to it than that, but I'm not going to lie. The system we use, Beamcast, is a steaming pile of shit, so that's why you didn't get to see it.
I assumed that was lag on my side. I just thought, oh, that's a shame. I'd quite like to have seen that.
I also assumed it was lag on my side, but looking at the stream, no, that's what we got. So
we'll get there.
Anyway, hi, welcome to the Boropod. People listening on Spotify, don't worry, you literally missed fuck all. Greg's here. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Hello. Good to be back. I say that I can't remember the last time I was on. Probably was only last week, but it feels longer for some reason.
No, you're in America last week.
I was in America last week. Yeah, you're right. Glad to be back, as always, for at least 1 week.
Yeah, and then you're gone for another month, right?
Something like that, yeah. We'll be mid-table by the time I'm back.
You're on the other side of the planet this time.
I am. I've decided to go and watch a dead rubber of a cricket game in the Ashes because that wasn't planned.
To be fair, it was booked so long ago that you've got no excuse. You knew it was going to be a dead rubber.
Yeah, I knew it was likely. I had that typical English hope that I could be there for the fifth test when we actually nick it 3-2, and yeah, that's not happening, unfortunately. It is what it is. But luckily, I'm not going for that purpose only. So. Although that was a big factor as part of it. But hey ho, if I did this for sports stuff for winning, then I'd probably support other teams. To be honest,
you wouldn't be a Stevenage fan. You wouldn't be a Titans fan. Probably not a Vegas Knights fan.
It's probably one of the better ones, to be honest, to support. But yeah, hey ho, we live and we learn. Next time it will be the first test, so I can see the disappointment rather than the dead rubber. But hey ho.
Hi Nick.
Hello. How are we?
Yeah, all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm very excited to talk about Saturday again. As you can tell, the enthusiasm and voice is rife.
Yeah, let's not send you to wake anybody up today. I suppose we better get on with it then. I'm gonna do a thing. Another thing for Spotify people only. No, I mean, not Spotify people. Oh, we can see shit. So, Stevenage 2, Burton Albion 2. Marshall in goal, Luther, Sweeney, Pidge and Sachs. Houghton White. No, White didn't start. Houghton and Doherty started, sorry. Campbell, Thompson, Phoenix, and Reed up top. We had more shots. We had more possession. We had a higher pass success rate. And we came away thinking, how have we not won that? No, we didn't come away thinking that. We weren't very good. Neither was Scott Oldham. The shit ass of a referee we had.
I knew I recognised him.
He's I said it afterwards in the 76. He wasn't bad for one club and better for the other. He was pretty poor for both. There was no consistency in his decision making. It was abysmal, I think. There was 1 minute Sweeney's got his hand planted on top of the lad next to his marker's head, and he's using him to jump up, and it's not a foul. And then Louis Thompson brushes somebody on the shoulder. They go down. That is a foul. There's just absolutely no consistency. I mean, there were times when we threw their strikers to the floor. Reed got thrown around. Nothing. No interest from the referee whatsoever. But we're not here to talk about that absolute stain on football. We're here to talk about our stain on football. That's harsh. Someone talk about the game.
I mean, the first half was as poor as I've seen all season, to be honest. It just couldn't seem to get anything going. Burton are not a great side, but they're very low half side, relegation potentially. But we just didn't seem to really get going. We didn't seem to like Doherty. I've wanted to see Doherty and team for a while, but seeing him on Saturday kind of made me realise just how far away he is from being first team ready. Because it kind of changed when Harvey came on at half time. You just felt like it was so much more assured in the middle, but the first half was just very frustrating, to be honest. It was a cheap goal to give away. I don't understand why we just decided to stop when that ball was played through. I don't know why. I mean, sure, sometimes you can expect that the flag's going to go up, but you have to play to the whistle, and that's the number one rule of any footballer. But there is, it just, I don't understand. Like, I mean, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Sweeney or Pidge or probably both, who just stood there with their arms in the air the whole time.
Sweeney certainly had his hand in the air, was looking at the lino rather than chasing back. Not that he was ever going to catch. Was it Shade?
The shot, yeah.
Shade,
I think me and Pat speaking about it during the game through the pitch through the middle just seemed to be just a touch boggy. Like the ball, like Pidge got caught out a few times where he seemed surprised with the way the ball bounced. 2 or 3 times over on that sort of left half side of his in the first half. Sweeney got caught out with it once, and then obviously the ball was played through, and it's not affected massively, but it looks like it's just held up enough that Shades, as the ball's played through, Shades got time to adjust his run. So he breaks the line. He times the run perfectly, literally perfectly, and then he has time to adjust and sort of re-angle his run back in line with the ball, and then has all the time in the world to find his finish, and he does what he needs to do. It's fucking abysmal from the back four. Sweeney had one of those first halves where I hated every moment of it.
He had one of those first halves where you expect him to be hooked at half time, especially when you got Charlie Good sitting on the bench.
Yep.
Chesterfield's probably the last one before that you thought the same. The first half, just we were so off it, and I don't think that was just Sweeney. I think Pidge was off it. Luther spells was off it, and Saxon's still obviously trying to get really up to speed with playing regular football, but at a League One level as well. And we seem to be saying quite often at home recently, played into how Burton wanted to play. Burton's midfield probably had the easiest 45 minutes that they've had this season, because we didn't dare go through the middle when actually we had the overload with 3 midfielders against. They were primarily playing 2 in there.
We
didn't use any of them.
We should have had the overload early on, but we made adjustments in the first half to try and give Reed some help, and Kem moved in from the right hand side and was playing almost sort of left forward with Reed, and then Louis Thompson was sort of pushed out towards the right, which did give us a little bit more, did give Reedy a bit more help, and he did Kem certainly helped to occupy the likes of Van Kooten and Evans and Lofthouse a little bit over that side, where before they were completely untroubled because Van Kooten and Evans between them had basically taken Reed out of the game. And then the problem with that adjustment was that Houghton and Docko in the middle just got overrun. Houghton, naturally he sits deep, which kind of almost isolated Doherty on his own in the middle with Williams, Larson, and whatever his name is. The worst player I've seen since Anthony Grant. Chalky, whatever his name is. Chalk, I don't care. Dreadful footballer. Like, I don't think I've seen anybody with such a bad touch for years. I mean, just everything he did more or less lost the ball. I genuinely can't think of a single worse performance from an opposition player I've seen for years. Absolutely abysmal, and it was very entertaining. But the three of them had all day just to move the ball around Doherty, and obviously Houghton spent quite a lot of time dropping back and trying to help Sweeney. Luther and Early were quite high for good periods of the game, certainly in the first half, which really isolated Pigeon Sweeney, which just made it really tough for us to stamp any kind of authority on a game. And Burton did really well, pressing us high, made us look like we were the team struggling down the bottom end of the league.
Yeah, I mean they've got a good player. I mean Beasley, I think, is a very good forward for the level.
Mm-hmm.
Lofthouse had a very good game down our right hand side, but ultimately, like in the preview of this game, I was more worried about Charlie Webster, and he wasn't even in the squad for this game. And I saw the lineups and thought this should be more comfortable than we anticipated, and yet still had that little element of anxiety going into a Stevenage game at home, following a performance of last week against a side of Burton that aren't in amazing form, but have been picking up points here and there. I mean,
comparable form to our own.
Yeah, so we didn't help ourselves, but they do have a couple of good players. I think they're just missing key areas for them to be able to push up the table. But you can see why Beasley's an effective forward at this level, why Shade can be effective at this level, and when you've got players like Van Kooten, who we know is League One quality as a centre back. We probably were a little naive, and it seems to be a theme in our performances where we underperform. Is naivety seems to be running through it. That 45 minutes was again a very naive performance, and it needed change going into the second half, which thankfully we got quite early on.
Yeah,
I think their team on paper, I mean, they've got quite a bit of experience. Like George Evans, who played in the middle of the three, has played football mostly sort of championship level. We all know what TVC can do. Hartridge has been League One level for a while. Armour, I didn't think played particularly well on Saturday, but when they signed him, I rated that signing massively. It's a squad that isn't spectacular, but also does have some League One quality in it. But you watch their performance on Saturday, and the first half, they nicked the goal they got. They didn't really do a lot else. They kind of frustrated us. I think they flooded the midfield. With Doherty, I felt like he was just, every time he was on the ball, they would give him next to no time whatsoever, and he'd just be then forced off it, whether it's physically or just had it nicked from him. And that's why I think that change at halftime did us huge favours. But I think the frustrating part of the game for me was you turn it around, you go 2-1 up. It was a great opportunity then to really take it forward and put 3-4 past them. And I wouldn't have seen, I wouldn't have put it past us doing that. And then you go and concede a really sloppy goal to make it 2-2, where, I mean, it's a great cross from TVC, and Beasley, give him credit, got up well to win it, but he was pretty much unchallenged, it felt like, from at the back post. And that's the kind of thing that was frustrating, because as soon as that goal went in, we kind of went within ourselves. We didn't really, until right towards the end, and we kind of pushed it a little bit more. We didn't really push it enough. We kind of, I think that it kind of, the goal put a bit of wind in the sails of Burton, and they had their tails up for a bit. And we then thought, oh, well, hold on a minute. If they nick another one here, then we're in trouble. And we kind of went within ourselves, and that was the frustrating part, because I felt like once we went 2-1 up, they only looked like I thought they were dead and buried, and it only took one moment of it was a nice ball by TVC, good header by Beasley, but very, very avoidable. If all it would have taken was, I don't think it would have been Piergiani on that side to compete with Beasley in the air, but he was just nowhere near it.
Pitch just gets absolutely dominated, just gets absolutely bullied off the ball.
It was a similar goal to the Stockport goal last week. Pretty much almost a carbon copy. Throw in, ball comes back out, whipped in, Pidge is beaten by the forward, kind of in and around the 6-yard penalty area. It was an absolute carbon copy of that goal just from last week, and you can excuse conceding that goal once. When you concede it twice in the space of 2 weeks, you start to have a slight worry about exposure to those types of goals. I mean, maybe a season or two ago, Pidge is winning that header all day, every day, and now that's 2 on the trot that he's lost the duel in the middle of the box. So it's disappointing. But yeah, like you say, after we scored a second, it felt like we needed to push ahead, take advantage of momentum, and get a third to kill the game off. And the minute they went and got that goal, and then the subs we started making, you didn't really feel like there was anything left in that game for us in the end.
We didn't really make any, apart from we obviously brought on Harvey at half time, and the rest of them, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm forgetting one, was all like during injury time or right at the end of the game, when it kind of just felt like you're bringing on a bit of fresh legs just to.
Yeah, I think it was Labala
freshen it.
73 minutes, Labala.
And then everything else came right at the end of the game.
I don't know what Labala's done to earn any minutes on the pitch. I just don't understand it.
I forgot he came on, to be honest with you, which pretty much says everything about
it. He ran his ass off, but it's all he did.
Yeah, I mean, when you're struggling to create chances because we hit that lull period, which felt like why we made a change, but it felt like the wrong change. You could argue, you look at our bench, and was there really someone there that you had faith would be able to come on and do something? Because you had, what was it, Malcolm, Young, and Labala were the forward options off the bench. So you could argue none of those three you're really optimistic are going to come on and affect the game to get you a third. But equally, taking off someone like Chem, who again has shown in moments he can really show some brilliance and get you a goal.
Yeah,
it feels like you go backwards in terms of your momentum to go and get a third.
He had a quiet afternoon, Chem. I get taking Chem off, but I think to your point, there isn't really anyone on that bench that you'd be like confident, okay, he's going to come in and make the right impact. And Jay Young is one that I want to see a bit more from, because I feel like we only ever see him for 2 minutes at the end of a game, apart from in the Pizza Cup, where he's probably had a bit more of a run out, but even then, mostly off the bench. I've seen enough of Labala. I think I know what I'm going to get from Labala most of the time, and that's not a great deal. That might still be the case with Jay Young, but I would rather have seen him get 15, 20 minutes rather than Labala, if I'm honest. I think not because he's proven that he deserves that necessarily. I'm probably far from that realistically, but I just don't. I do not see
something from Young.
Possibly, yeah, and I also think with Young, he's got a little bit. Like, if you have to go and then stick him as a centre forward, you have to take Reed off, and you want to play, I don't know, Malcolm out wide, or you bring on Bez at that point. He could then go and play in that number 9.
Yeah.
Again, whether he'll be effective or not, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It frustrated me at the end of the game because it kind of felt like, and we've had a few of them in the last probably 6-7 weeks, games where you walk away from it thinking that's 2 points dropped. There's no other way of looking at it other than that. And when you saw then the results around us kind of going in our favour, you kind of think that's 2 points we could have really done with, because
that's the third time this season I think we probably would be sitting here going missed opportunity.
Yeah, it is.
And you can kind of get away with one of those in a season and still compete in the top 6 by come May, but actually three times where you should have had 3 points and you've come away with 1, in some cases 0. That's where you
it's just
fall.
it's just a good indication of how poor the league is this season that we're going to, we're so far getting away with 3 of them.
Yeah.
Three of them. Yeah.
I mean, I said it in the 76 after that there's not often that we would score 2 goals at home and not win the game. And it feels like one of those ones where hard luck in our sense that we go and concede a goal that was of quality, even though it was probably preventable from a couple of areas in the build-up.
Yeah.
But very rarely will we score 2 goals at home and not win the game. And while I will probably dwell on it a bit longer until we play on Boxing Day, actually, I look at it and go, we've had plenty of games like that. We've walked away with 3 points and gone, bad performance, found a way to win, move on to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think before Stockport and Burton, if someone said to you, you'll get 4 points from this, you expect one from Stockport and 3 from Burton, and you'd be perfectly happy with that. We're sort of coming away from this thinking, shit, should have been 6 points. I think, it's really easy to be overly negative about everything off the back of a performance like that, because it was kind of languid, wasn't it? It was. I mean, by 70 odd minutes, most of them were chewing the air. It was so they looked so knackered.
I don't think it warrants such a negative reaction that I think we probably saw from some at the end of the game.
The boos are fucking ludicrous.
Yeah, I think that level of reaction. We've had plenty of these games in our past where we've walked away going that we know we're going to be inconsistent. We're not one of the big boys that spend a lot of money on players that are constantly in form and are earning God knows how much on goal bonuses and things like that. So we know we're going to have a level of inconsistency in our performances because that's the nature of the club we are and what we can attract in terms of player quality. I think again, it might have been you, Nate, that said it in the live pod at the weekend. Like, players are at this level because of their inconsistency. If they were consistent, they'd be a lot higher. They could be playing championship football.
Yeah.
And so that those performances are going to happen. And while we can be critical of them, while we can be critical of them, we also know that they've got a lot better in them. It's not they're poor players; it's that they've played poorly on that occasion. And Reed's probably been he has been one of our best forward options in our Football League career as a club. So,
I mean, I think Jamie Reed was excellent Saturday. Actually, not just in spells. I think he led the line really well. It was a really thankless task. He got a bit of support in the first half, but that opened us up and sort of really damaged the balance of the team. It was rectified at half time with White coming on. You said it really well, Nick, in that when something he does really well is get into space out wide and open things up. We have to remember we're still without Kemp, who would have had a field day on Saturday playing against Chalky. I know that's not how you say his name. I couldn't give a fuck.
I mean, when Harvey White's the one making your second man runs, could you imagine what Kemp would be doing in a game like that when the space is there to run in between centre backs and get in beyond?
The pass from Phoenix with the outside of his foot through a gap that's about an inch wider than the ball itself, to put Harvey White in, who absolutely thundered that ball across, and got lucky with a deflection in off of a defender, off of armour. It was beautiful.
But I think that's what people forget with Reed. I mean, I compared it to Cardiff because Cardiff was the prime example of us lumping it into the channels, letting Reed go and run onto it, and then just giving him absolutely nothing to work off of once he gets on the ball. And people were frustrated by Reed in that game, thinking that he should do better with it. And actually, the second goal from Saturday is the prime example of, if you want the best out of Reed getting into those areas, you need people making the runs for him to play off of, and he will find them. But Cardiff was an example of there was no one there. He's not going to be able to take on 3 defenders on his own from out wide and stick it in the back of the net.
No.
Very little strikers can at any level.
I think the frustration and yeah, like the boos at the end of the game, I pretty much walked straight out. So I didn't hear many of them, if I'm honest. But boos at the end of the game is ridiculous. But I think that's 6 games at home that we've not won in all competitions. Which for us, when our home form has always been, not always, but certainly in more recent times, has been, the linchpin of the success that we've had. Really.
Mm-hmm.
I get a level of frustration, and I think after Stockport, everyone got back on the crest of a wave again, thinking, right, we're back, right, we're gonna go on a run, and all of a sudden, you then go and drop 2 points at home to Burton, and I think Burton weren't great, so I was frustrated at the end of it, but purely on the basis it kind of felt like a missed opportunity, not because of I was going to sit there booing the players off the pitch or anything like that. But the missed opportunities are, I think, you have to capitalise on those because, Nick, you mentioned there's been 3 games this year that we've walked away thinking probably should have won that. There's arguably more than that, but I think there's probably 3 contenders. This one for me on Saturday was probably the most frustrating of them because I just didn't see much from Burton in the 90 minutes. The first half, they kind of nicked the goal early doors, whenever it was, but they kind of nicked it.
23rd minute.
Yeah, they kind of nicked the goal, but then they never looked like a threat after that. And you kind of then it was frustrating at half time because we didn't play in a way that kind of showed any real quality, or we just looked well out of our depth to a certain extent. But as soon as we went 2-1 up, we scored the goal within a minute of the restart. And then another one probably 10, 15 minutes later after that you are expecting only one result. And it is frustrating that you concede a cheap goal. I give credit to Beasley. It was a good finish. I think the cross from TBC was outstanding, but it felt very, very avoidable. And then after that, you don't really push on. It was a case of Burton gathered a bit of confidence, and it was, okay, let's ride out the next 10, 15 minutes and then give it 10, 15 minutes at the end of the game to try and win something. When actually kind of felt like we needed to wrestle that control back, which we didn't really do. And that was a frustrating part.
They were really deep in the second half, and it just became us trying to break down a team in a low block, which doesn't really happen.
Never works. Yeah.
No.
I mean, we had plenty of opportunities from set pieces in that second half when White was on corners. I don't know how many came off. I think probably I counted 4 at least that came off Sweeney's head.
Sweeney had 2 free headers across the game that went harmlessly up wide or over. Pidge had 2 headers that I can remember from set pieces that didn't trouble the goalkeeper. And those are all good opportunities. So it's really bad that
I mean, that's where we've won games against teams in low blocks, or where we've not had a huge amount of chances. It's been those set pieces.
Burton are good aerially, but we've had 3 headers in the box and done nothing with them. I mean,
one thing. Sorry, mate. One thing we missed about Charlie Good on Saturday was his ability to take a long throw, because it kind of felt like when there's opportunities like that where you're struggling to break a team down in a low block, sometimes that can be another weapon that I would have hooked Sweeney at half time, not just because of his performance. I think not playing good, despite the fact that obviously Stockport, I understand you don't want to make considerable changes after a good performance, but you're all forced to do that with suspensions anyway. I kind of felt like Charlie Good's been the best centre half in the league this year. Not putting him straight back in didn't make sense to me. Even if it was a case of that Sweeney and Pidge played well on the previous Saturday, which they did, I still think the right decision would have been starting him, because he's justified it over a longer period that he should be one of the first names on the team sheet. And I think we we definitely missed not having him being able to throw in some of those long throws that he's become famous for. I'm not saying they always work, because they probably only worked once or twice this season, but it just gives a team like Burton something else to worry about.
Yeah,
and that's something that we missed.
The debate about whether Sweeney should have started or not, people talk about that precedence of you play well game before, you've got no reason to be dropped. But I think, like you say, there is an element of, but when you've got credit in the bank over such a long period, like that counts for something too. And it's not like Good played poorly to be dropped against Stockport. He just couldn't play. He didn't do anything wrong.
He was suspended, wasn't he?
I'm sure I'm sure he picked up bookings that got us out of a trap of those 5 bookings, and so there's definitely as much of an argument for precedence of you play well, you should have an opportunity to start next game. When you've played well so consistently and built up that credit, that counts for just as much, if not more, than one-off performances.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's enough of that. Fuck. I've just opened about 12 different windows I did not mean to open. Okay. It's time for a quiz. I've had enough of Burton Albion. We're going to play anyone but Stevenage.
Oh.
And the man of focus today is Steve Morrison. Not many clubs by EFL journeyman kind of measures. A couple of repeat clubs. So you have to go for the cumulative total for them. You can't pick an era.
I mean, I'm doing terribly in this because I can only think of 2.
Good. Well done, Greg. I'll let Greg start.
So I've just got to pick a club he's played for.
Yeah, not that he isn't Stevenage. And then you've got to give me either the number of goals he scored or the appearances, and you'll get if you get a club correct, you get 1 point. If you go for appearances and get it right within 10, you'll get 10 either side, not within 10. You'll get 2 points. And if you go for goals and you get that right, you get 3 points.
Okay. I'll go Millwall.
Yep. So he was there 09 to 11, 13, 14, and between 15 and 19.
13, 14, so 6, 9 years. Give or take.
One of those was one of those was on loan.
Okay. So I'll go 289 appearances.
Well, there you go. You get the 2 bonus points because it's 293 appearances. Well done.
Do I need to guess his goals as well?
You don't. You're not going to get a bonus point for it, but you can if you want.
He banged quite a few in, didn't he?
It's really fucking show off.
I'll go with 84 goals.
You would have not got the points for that one because it's 74,
Shame.
75, sorry. So you would have actually. So 9 out, sorry. Nicholas.
So that was one of my 2 that I knew.
Good.
So the only other one I know is Norwich City.
Yeah. 2011 to 2013, 2 seasons. You can go for absolute goals.
What is it? Can I get more points for goals than...
You can get more points for goals.
Okay, we'll go for goals because I'm not getting any more points this game. So 2 seasons, 18 goals.
You get the points. 10 goals.
Ooh.
I
nearly went for in the 20s.
Yeah. Right. For the rest of the game, Greg, over to you.
Okay. I know he played for Leeds. I think it was
He
only
did
1
play for
year.
Leeds. It was 1 year. Well, no, it wasn't. It was 2 years.
Was it 2 years? Okay. I'll go 8 goals. I don't think he scored many whilst he was there.
5 goals in 41 appearances. Nick?
Don't have any recollection of him ever sticking a Leeds shirt on, so that's good. What year was he at Leeds?
Between 2015 and 13 and 2015. Okay. After Norwich, before he went back to Millwall, he was on loan at Millwall for one of those seasons as well. So it was only just about a season.
I don't know. Oxford City?
Nope.
So I know where he was before he joined us, and that was Bishop Stortford.
He was.
I haven't got a clue how long he was there for, how many goals he scored.
2004 to 2006.
Okay, so I'll go. Hold on, didn't he join us in? So is that just over a season, or was it 2 full seasons? That's what I'm trying to. Okay, I'll go 68 appearances.
You do get the points because it's 58 appearances. 58 appearances, 28 goals.
I'm going to think of...
You got 3. There are... sorry, hang on. No, I have put Stevenage in here. So there are only 2 left. Because I've got one.
I feel like I'm going to have to just default to clubs that he's like coached at and just assume that maybe he's played for them. Cardiff?
Nope.
So I know where he started his career, but I have no idea how many appearances he made. I know he started at Northampton.
Yep.
I don't think he would have played much or scored much. I think goals is more likely to get right because I think he would have scored no more than like 2.
3 goals.
Oh.
3 goals in 24
appearances. How many appearances? 24. I would have said like 10 appearances.
And the last club, Nick.
I'm obviously going to get this one, so
I'm going to give you a clue. Very close to Wales.
Ooh.
Very close to Wales.
Oh, I think I know who it is now.
Trying to think of...
And it's not Bristol.
Oh. It's the only place I know that's near Wales. What else is near Wales?
I mean, it's quite a lot because the border goes all the way.
I'm not very good at geography, so Bristol was going to be my best guess, and then you've taken that away. Who speaks like Bristolians that I could probably go close to? I don't know. Hornchurch.
No, they were Football League.
Oh. Yeovil?
No. Great.
He was manager at Hornchurch, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's why I guessed it because I was like...
Yeah. I think your clue's given it to me. I'm going to say Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury. Correct. You can go games or goals.
I'll go goals. So again, I don't think he was there that long. So I'm going to go 3 goals.
No, he didn't score a single goal. And because it's blank, you're going to blank as well on that one.
Oh.
Was
the final score
at the end?
The final score is 11 points for Greg and 3 points for Nick.
Hey, I got 3. We'll take it. When was he at Shrewsbury? Right near the end? When
right at the very end, yeah.
Okay.
After his second stint at Millwall.
Yeah, couldn't even tell you that he played for Leeds, even with you saying I can't picture him in a Leeds shirt at all. So
no, I don't really remember him at Leeds.
I remember him at Leeds. Wasn't it around the time they had that stupid Italian owner who was an absolute nutter?
Yeah, probably.
But I think it was around the time they were sort of flirting with League One. But I think he was there. Might have been when they were in the Championship, technically. But
yeah,
what a player!
Okay, right. Let's have a look around the league, see what happened at the weekend. The other early kickoff was Wigan 0, Blackpool 2. You had Wickham 2, Bolton 1, Doncaster 1, Plymouth 5. That's a mad result, that. Exeter 3, Barnsley 0. That's a mad result. Leyton Orient 2, Bradford 1. I can't believe I'm saying this, but thank you, Welland. Lincoln 2, Cardiff 1. Mansfield 1, Stockport 2. Port Vale 0, Peterborough 1, and Rotherham 1, Huddersfield 3. If we look at the table, Port Vale are bottom on 15 points from 20. 7 points clear of that, Doncaster. Then you've got Blackpool and Mansfield on 23 points each. Exeter just outside the playoffs, just outside the relegation zone on goal difference. On 23 points, you've got Burton on 24, Rotherham on 24, Plymouth out now to 17th on 25, as are Peterborough. Reading are also on 25 points, Wigan are 26 points. AFC Wimbledon slide continues, they're in 13th now on 27 points, Northampton on 27 points, Orient are climbing on 28 points, up to 11th, Barnsley are in 10th with 28, Wickham in 9th with 28. And you got in 8th place, you got Luton on 29 points. And Huddersfield trying to keep pace with the top 6 on 31 points. You got Bolton in 6th on 34 points. Stockport 5th on 35 points. Stevenage 4th on 35 points. Then you've got Bradford 3rd on 37. Lincoln 2nd on 38. And Cardiff top of the pile and starting to pull away, albeit they lost at the weekend to second place Lincoln City. They are on 41 points.
Genuinely don't know how we're still in the top 6 with some of the
Because
results, but
everybody
we will
else
take it.
is also shit.
And we will take it. But what a league.
That gap is closing though, isn't it? With, we got to talk about AFC Wimbledon sliding down to 13th, and there's only 8 points between us and them. It's that gap just seems to get shorter and shorter, and you lose a few games, you all of a sudden
that gap isn't shrinking. That gap's expanding.
Really? I don't think. Well, from like being only 8 points off sort of 13th in the league, it feels like
we're losing our game in hand opportunities, because I think we're down to 1 now on some teams.
We've got we still have 1 over most of the teams around us, and 2 on Lincoln. So nothing on that front. Nothing's changed since we played Peterborough.
Well, we were but for Peterborough, we were flirting with 2 games in hand, and look like winning both games in hand and having some positive results in between would mean we would open a gap and being 2nd and 3rd, rather than.
I mean, look, we're on 4th at the moment on 35 points. Luton are in 8th on 29 points. So we've got 6 points over Luton, who are in worse form than us at the moment. Huddersfield are the next team chasing the sort of the playoff pack. They're 3 points off the playoffs at the moment. They've only got 1 win in the last 6. We're doing just fine. We would like to be better doing than just fine. Fine would be better, and probably have 1 more win in that, and we wouldn't be sat here going, oh. Honestly, I think you look Luton 29 points down to 8th down to 23rd is 7 points. That's almost the same gap to us.
Here's an interesting.
That's almost the same gap to us. There is a playoff lump. There is Huddersfield, who are just in no man's land, which is a really good metaphor for them as a club. And then 8th to basically Doncaster, so 8th to 23rd is so fucking tight. That is mad. Any one of those teams wins 4 in 6, and all of a sudden they're like, we can make the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, I just don't like me personally. I don't like being in that position where we're not to say catching up as such, but like we've got opportunities, but I'd personally rather be in like a Lincoln's position where you've got the points and other people have got to catch up to you.
I'd rather be being chased because historically we don't chase very well.
Yeah, and that's what makes me slightly nervous about the league position in that sense, in terms of how how much we need to do to maintain it in comparison to some of these other teams that are going to feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. We're probably not going to record between now and the new year. Just because I don't want to. So I'm just going to have a look. I just want to have a look at our fixtures coming up.
You don't want to talk about Wimbledon away on Boxing Day?
No.
On the following Monday night? Okay.
I'm not going to talk about Souvlaki or whatever it is that you...
Yeah, I will be doing an episode of Nick's Nosh.
Yeah. We've got to get a sponsor for that soon, surely.
I will review the review.
Nick's Nosh sounds like it needs to be censored.
I don't know what you mean.
Nick Nosh
Completely
is not
innocent.
What the interesting thing, I'm amazed. I was just looking at the form table. We're actually 8th in the form table, which is crazy to me. It feels like we should be like 16th or 17th.
No, you're absolutely right. It's been pretty bleak since the end of October, or since the middle of October.
There is not a single team that is unbeaten in the last 5. There's not a single team in the league.
We're still in the top 4.
Yeah.
We are still in the top 4, for fuck's sake. It is unreal how inconsistent this league is. Nobody wants automatic promotion alongside Cardiff. I don't blame them for not wanting to go anywhere with Cardiff.
It's going to be the whoever gets through this season and gets promoted is. Because I just see such a lack of quality.
He's getting relegated next season.
Oh yeah. They're struggling next year. Whoever.
Unless you've got a club that can go and chuck a load of money in the Championship, which I don't see any of them in that list being
Huddersfield
to that level.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Even then, I'm not sure how much money they've got left.
Yeah, it's Huddersfield, Luton, Bolton, Stockport are probably the 4 teams that would have sufficient budget to.
I don't think Stockport will.
I think they'll pump to some extent, yes, but I don't think they'll have enough to they're going to go and do what like Wrexham have done and spend however many millions on that knobhead for Broadhead. That's the one. Couldn't think of his name, but like there's.
I mean, who's
Luton have spent they put all their money in their stadium, like because they want to get to their new stadium. I don't think they've got a pot to piss in when it comes to throwing money at the Championship. Should they, by some miracle, get promoted anyway?
I mean, we're looking at the teams at the bottom of the Championship. You got Sheffield Wednesday, obviously bottom. Norwich, Oxford are the other 2 in the relegation zone.
Norwich will throw money at the league next season.
Yeah. You've then got Portsmouth, Blackburn, Swansea, Sheffield United.
I'd love Charlton to come down.
Like that, they're big clubs that have a lot of.
Blackburn are one of those clubs though that they basically live off of their Premier League win from 1995 or whatever year it was.
Yeah.
So they're actually not that big a side. They don't get decent crowds anymore. They are just living off of that pretty much. They go down, I can see them struggling to get back up again. Because I think when they last came down to League One was a completely different division. Like it was full of teams that couldn't spend hardly any money whatsoever, and they came down, kept hold of a few Championship quality players, and did enough. They had Jordan Rhodes, I think, just scoring goals for fun for them, if I remember correctly. They're not going to have that this time. So if they do go down, I think they'll struggle. And that's the same. Like, I think Norwich will chuck loads of money in it in January, and I think they'll probably end up surviving. But I think if you look at League One this year, Cardiff seems to be pulling away to a certain extent, but they're still only 4 points clear of playoff places.
We're only 6 points off them with a game in hand, so that comes 3 if we win against Barnsley.
Precisely. Is it Barnsley or is it Bolton?
It's Barnsley.
Is it Barnsley? Okay, interesting.
Barnsley.
You got Lincoln, Bradford, who I think are just on a bit of a crest of the wave in more recent weeks. Like whether they'll be able to keep the momentum up is a question that we.
Bradford were fucking rubbish against Orient.
Yeah, they are.
I've really watched them against us.
They have been very up and down, haven't they? I mean, I can't remember how long ago it was that they absolutely romped aside. It must have only been 2-3 weeks ago. I think they won 4-5-0 or something along those lines. But yeah, they seem to be as inconsistent as we are in that same vein. And they've got some
Stockport-
really good players.
Stockport play Lincoln on Boxing Day, which is interesting.
Yeah.
That's
I know
actually
Bradford haven't had a big win in ages.
Have they not? What am I thinking about?
They beat Reading 2-0. They lost 3-0 to Bolton. Lost 3-1
Maybe I'm
to
thinking of them getting
Doncaster.
romped by Bolton then.
They put 5 past the Everton Academy.
Yeah, I mean they beat Huddersfield and Cardiff earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Which were
They've had some good wins. They've had some good wins, and they're where they are because they fucking deserve to be there.
I think there's a side in that bottom half. Someone like potentially a Peterborough who seems to be turning it around a little bit. They've had a few bad results here and there, but they've definitely been better since they got rid of Ferguson.
Oh, they won't get down.
No. Well, I actually think I'm actually thinking more could go on a run. A team that could be competing for the playoffs come the end of the season just by going on, because they're still only they've got 25 points. They're only 10 points or 9 points off playoffs.
I genuinely think
that's nothing really.
That team. Like
Plymouth,
how badly Plymouth have started, but I think we kind of said at the start of the season, as we start to see like Cardiff pulling away, and then teams like Luton, Plymouth, Blackpool all sitting in that bottom half, and we kind of said actually they all did a fair amount of business in the summer, and we all felt that there was something coming from all three of them. Luton have had their span. I think Plymouth, we're starting to see it a little bit more. I mean, there was the win at Wickham, and people were like, oh, okay, let's not get too excited about it because they did that before and then went on another losing run. They then beat Rotherham, but then they've gone and romped Doncaster away. And you think that's proper momentum now, and a club with quality in their side as Plymouth do, you'd like to think that's enough for them to really start hitting their stride now.
Tolla is firing, isn't he?
Yeah, so I can see them being one of those ones, and again they'll be looking in January to correct some of the business that they didn't do in the summer.
Yeah,
and so I can see them being the one that suddenly we see up near the playoff spots. I mean, they've gone from bottom of the league up to 17th in the space of 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't rate Tom Cleverley. I'm not convinced that he's the right man for that job.
I think they've done excellent in not getting rid of him, not biting a bullet. And
I think it's refreshing. Panicking. Yeah, I think it's refreshing to see that, and I hope it does work for him because it's always good to see.
I mean, I think it's I still think it's ludicrous that Watford let him go in the first place.
Yeah, I'm just not convinced by him though. There's not a lot I've seen in the season from Plymouth.
But they've not got like. I look at their squad and I just think, meh. It's a League One squad. It's not.
That's where they are though.
It's a very no, I know, but like it's a normal League One squad with a couple of standout players.
It's a League One squad with players who have championship attitudes in the sense that they don't think they should be League One, but they are in League One, and I think that's underestimated how difficult that can be to manage. And Cleverley is still a young manager. I think he was doing a great job at Watford, and like you say, should have stayed at Watford, really. But then going into a dressing room where a lot of them are the players from last season, you're then adding players in that I don't think they added the right players.
Followed Wayne Rooney into there, didn't he?
I don't think you can really take anyone who manages Watford. You can really understand what sort of manager they are because they're only ever going to get 6 months in the job before they get sacked anyway. So I think it's impossible to take anyone's spell from that. But I think the squad they have is a very, very strong League One squad. Do they have amazing championship level quality players? Probably not. I think Joe Rules is a great pickup for them. Bags of experience and played championship level for a long, long time. I think he's a great signing. The guy from Port Vale, Tollage, however you say his name, bags and goals for fun. So he's someone I think will just get stronger as the season goes on. But I think if they have a good January window, if they can get 3-4 quality players in, I can see them definitely going on a run. But I also see the same with Peterborough. I think Peterborough are a side that they've still got a young squad. If they can go and get 3 or 4 good acquisitions in January, which is easier said than done. We all know what the January transfer windows are like. It's a fucking shit show most of the time. But I think if they can get that right, they could easily go on a bit of a run as well. And that gap, I think, will only close more and more and more in in that table, because there's no teams currently in the top 10 that are consistent enough to pick up results on the regular. The fact we're 8th in the form table when all we've been doing is moaning for the last 6 weeks about how bad we've been, it pretty much says that.
I mean, what Peterborough have is a goal scorer. They've got that Leonard up front that's on loan. I think he's probably not far off his double figures.
Yeah.
And when you've got that, it's a very good basis to build off of when they start hitting some form, as we've seen a couple of years back or so with Reedy. So yeah, I can see them doing it. Tollage, Plymouth, same situation. They have a striker that starts scoring goals, and that is probably 50%, if not more, of fixtures, because you need to score goals to win them. So
talking about strikers that score goals, or in his case don't score goals, Gatineau Admi is injured for the season and won't be back.
Interesting.
But not the greatest news there, because it looks like not the greatest news there, because it looks like there might not be a clause in his contract for us to send him back in January, which means we might have to pay him to the end of the season.
Amazing news.
Let's look at Wimbledon, Cardiff, Plymouth. That's our festive slate of fixtures, starting with AFC Wimbledon on Boxing Day. We visit I'm not calling it the Cherry Red Records Stadium, it's Plough Lane. Visiting Plough Lane. They have 1 win in the last 6. That's nice. That's in all competitions as well, actually. If we look at just their League One fixtures, they have 0 wins in the last 6. Their last win coming against Plymouth on the 18th, away at Plymouth on the 18th of October.
Overperformed start of the season. I think everyone acknowledges that.
Yes.
And I think everyone was waiting for the fall off, to be quite honest, whether you call it a fall off if actually they're just now competing where you probably expect them to be. But yeah, I mean, they did very similar to us and had a very good sprint at the start of the season. They've hit some very, very poor form, and you'd like to think, especially with, albeit against a weaker side in the Virtue Trophy, we went to their place and absolutely dominated in that game with, again, what was our rotated squad as well.
Yes.
You'd like to think that's a very winnable game, that we'd be right up for getting 3 points on the road again. Yeah,
you really would hope, wouldn't you? Their top scorers this season are Matty Stevens and Marcus Brown with 5 apiece. Ryan Johnson's probably their standout performer. Boro connection there. Some other former Boro players on their books. Steve Seddon, who was a bit of a lone culty hero. I loved him.
I was every summer I was hoping that he would be out of contract for us to sign him permanently after he was with us.
For several years, he was one of the first players I was looking at to see what they were doing in the summer.
His contract's up. His contract's up. No, never mind. He's got to Oxford.
He was basically Saxon Early before Saxon Early existed.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jake Reeves is there at the moment. He's played 19 games, playing solidly. Scored a goal, a couple of assists without really shining. Good. I was going to say a good young goalkeeper. He's 26, but good goalkeeper Nathan Bishop. Miles Hippolyte's there, who we've had problems with down the flanks in the past. Joe Lewis is there, good solid defender, and that Patrick Bauer's a fucking monster. Although I don't think he's played that much. I think he might have been carrying injuries. I'm going to be devastated if we don't win that one.
They've been really, really inconsistent in terms of.
Really shit.
They've had some narrow losses, but they seem to be struggling to score enough goals. I mean, apart from they got 3 past Huddersfield in a 3-3 draw, but apart from that, they've not scored more than 1 goal in a game since Plymouth on the 18th of October, if you exclude the trophy, because that's what you should do. So I think it's one of those games that, I mean, obviously it's the festive period, so it'd be interesting to see what rotation, if any, is done, because you've got games coming thick and fast afterwards. So whether there'll be rotation in that team or not, I don't know. And that's the same on our side as well. But you've got to go there and fancy us getting 3 points. You got to go and really try and win that game, because
Yeah.
you can't really settle for anything less than 3 points with the form that they're in.
Yeah. Yeah. Who scores have their weaknesses listed as defending set pieces and avoiding committing fouls in dangerous areas. So that should play right up our back alley.
You say that. I don't see many goals scored from us from set pieces anymore.
No, you don't.
I mean, I can see Johnny Jackson had very high praise for Phoenix after the Virtue game. So
he will be paying attention to Phoenix.
Yeah. I envisage that we might see a quiet game for Phoenix, because they will target that side as trying to be defensively solid. Whether that opens up for Chem on the right to have some joy again, that'd be the hope. But
maybe Jordan Roberts. Who knows when he's going to pop back up?
But I think people will be looking at it and going, "Oh yeah, Phoenix ran them riot last time we played them, so he's going to do it again." They're definitely going to be looking at him as the point of physical contact to stop him in his tracks.
Yeah. Then obviously we've got the away trip to Cardiff. Less said about that, the better. And then on New Year's Day we have a visit from Plymouth.
It's a tough little run. I think Cardiff away is a bit of a free shot. I think you'd be happy to walk away with a point, but
I'd be happy to walk away with no points, but a good performance. I think. If you're sensible and not a moron who boos when we're fourth in the table.
Yeah, I'll be booing that off. No, I'm joking. I think, I agree with where you're coming from, but I think realistically we'll be going out there to set up to frustrate and try and nick a point. I can't see us going out and being too expansive.
I don't know though, because obviously we did that at home and we ultimately got punished. And I don't know. I mean, that maybe the likelihood is we'll try and do it again and hope for better luck, but that performance was probably the one that people had the most disappointment about in terms of that home game against Cardiff, with how we set up. And I think even Ravel,
it's very negative.
Even in his post match, you could kind of tell he saw it as, maybe the game plan worked, but we didn't do enough going forwards. And if you're going away to Cardiff, you're probably going to be even more under the cosh if you're not going to try and get up the other end. So I'm hoping we might go with a little bit more of a riskier approach and go, look, let's just go for it and see what we can do away.
I think fans will be, I'd say, more accepting. Who knows with fans nowadays? But I think you go away from home against a team like Cardiff and you set yourself out to make it difficult for them. You kind of walk away from that thinking, I see why you've gone down that route. When you're at home, you expect there to be a little bit more adventurous play, expecting a little bit more on the front foot. You can still try and cancel them out, but you don't expect for what is. I mean, look, it worked for 85 minutes, whatever minute it was that they scored. It worked for the majority of the game. If we'd walked away with a 0-0 draw at the end of that Cardiff game, whilst I think some of the fans might have felt like, that's disappointing, I don't think Revs would have agreed. I think Revs would have been very much happy that you'd taken a point from that game. And that, I don't see that being
from that game happy with a 0-0.
I think some probably, and I probably would have agreed with you there, but I think there are always going to be some fans that think at home you should be more aggressive than that and to be trying to win a game, which I also understand. But I think away from home against Cardiff,
well,
I don't see us being more adventurous. I see us being, if anything, okay, look, work for 85 minutes. If we can nick something on a counter attack and set ourselves up to be able to do that, then great. If not, I think we'll try and get a point.
Yeah, I think that's the bit of having a bit of progression from what we did at home, which was lump it in the channels and not really have anything to think. Like, no one really knew what they were doing going forwards against Cardiff. Well, that's how it looked. Having that ability, and we've worked have worked through how can we counter against a team like Cardiff. I mean, Lincoln at the weekend beat them at their place with less possession. I think they end up having more shots because I'm sure Lincoln went with a counter-attacking approach at Cardiff. I mean, Burton won earlier in the season there.
We need to look at the example of Lincoln, who I think if you look at them on paper, their squad makeup is different, but it's not so different that we can't try to emulate what they did.
So I think that 100%. You go in there primarily to stifle them. Cardiff haven't actually been that clinical, and we saw that at our place. But I think we have to do more than just sitting in and hoping we can drive a draw out. There needs to be something that we can do going forwards, because actually that does help defensively as well, being able to retain possession higher up the pitch.
I think you'll have different personnel for that game as well, right? You look at the starting lineup that we had at home. We had Doherty starting, Labala, pretty much five at the back. Obviously, because we played obviously Saxon early at left wing back and Freestone, Pigeon, good. I don't expect that we'll play five at the back again. I think it's probably more likely to be four, but I think you should have hopefully potentially Robbo back by that point. But yeah, I think Dan Phillips is going to get more than half an hour, because that's all he got in that game. Because I think that was not long after he came back from his international break and whatever, all that stuff that happened. So I think realistically, personnel wise, we're probably better suited to setting up away from home and frustrating them. I do think, look, I'm never going to say to any game that should be let's just sit back, absorb as much pressure as possible and try and nick a point. But I think it's more likely you're going to do that away to Cardiff than it is, any other game coming up. That's for sure. Even Plymouth, if Plymouth are in good form at the moment, like, you've got to go out there and find a way to beat them, not soak up pressure and hope to hit them on the counter. So it'd be interesting to see who's back, because I think that's the key. We've really missed Kemp. We've really missed Roberts. I think not only in terms of the quality they bring, but also, we've pretty much been playing with the same, well, apart from obviously when we played five at the back, but you don't really want to be playing Chem and Phoenix every single game over this period. You want to be able to mix it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
By that I don't mean play Bez Labala, because I don't think that's the answer either. So I think there's getting.
Don't worry. We know you weren't going down that route.
But I think getting Robbo and or Kemp back, if we can, over this period will be we're very much welcome. Especially Kemp. I think we've really missed his creativity in that 10.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Ooh. And our first ever visit to Cardiff, that'll be in our history.
European tour.
How beautiful would it be to walk in there for the first time and really upset them by being really negative, playing anti-football and coming away with 3 points?
We could play them off the park and it would still be negative anti-football, and that's the way it should be.
So it should be. Absolutely. I want them crying on Twitter at full time. Absolutely bawling.
They were doing that when they beat us the other day.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah, if we can do that and take something from them, God, wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah, right. There it is. That's your lot for the year, I think. We might pop up between Christmas and New Year, but I doubt it. Chaps, thanks for joining me.
Merry Christmas to you both.
To you too. And Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of you fuckers listening. Up the Boro.
Woo!
Genuinely just thought you were going to go woo.
Woo. That's what I was going to do. Should have gone boo instead. That would have been appropriate after Saturday.